Experts on climate change in Africa are brainstorming on ways to tackle the effects of climate change in the continent. The event is taking place at a validation retreat on the draft Model Climate Change Law for Africa, organized by the African Group of Negotiators Experts Support Group, AGNES, in collaboration with the National Institute of Legislative and Democratic Studies, NILDS, in Abuja on Tuesday. Only 3 African countries, namely Nigeria, Kenya, and Uganda, have successfully passed the climate change legislation in the country, and according to experts, this number is too insignificant for any meaningful success to be achieved in addressing the devastating impact of climate change on the continent. In his open remark, the Director General NILDS, in its attempt to proffer solutions to the effect of climate change in the continent, suggested that major rivers and dams should be dredged to avert the raging impacts of flooding and erosion. While lamenting the lack of funds to fight the menace of climate change in Africa, the NILDS Director said there is a need for a collective action among the 54 nations in the continent.
The continent has yet to prioritize the coordinated climate action in desperate needs. A significant barrier to achieve this coordination is lack of comprehensive legal framework for climate action in many African countries. The concept of a model climate change legislation is therefore timely and crucial. Its purpose is to inspire countries without existing legislation to adopt robust climate laws by leveraging the experiences of countries that have already implemented such frameworks.
Other speakers across the region were all in support of the initiative, as they called for the political will to adopt and implement the draft model for Africa when finally drafted at the retreat.
We're going to look at each of all these and see how can we avoid some of those obvious challenges that are there and those countries that are currently in the process of developing their legislation. The process has been slow, but I think we are picking up, and the intention of this framework is to help catalyze so that many countries can overcome some of the challenges that we have. Yes, the challenge is big. So
for us to deal with climate change really lies with the G20, the leading world industrialists, cutting their global emissions. If they don't do it, we are going to continue to suffer in Africa and in the most vulnerable countries. We are not on track at all to meet the 1.5 degrees that we agreed upon. In fact, we are way off the target. But it's not impossible. I mean, it still remains technically possible for us to achieve the 1.5 degrees.
When you come to Africa, 54 countries, and you see that 3 countries clearly have their climate change laws or acts in place, and others are, trying to come on board. And when you juxtapose that against the challenges that we are facing as a continent in terms of the impact of climate change, impacts that are clearly devastating, we're going to...
In the next 3 days, the retreat will afford experts the opportunity to brainstorm on the draft law and make it adaptive and implementable by member countries.
Hello, hope you enjoyed the news. Please do subscribe to our YouTube channel and don't forget to hit the notification button so you get notified about fresh news updates.